Hello and welcome. You're tuned into Market Fatafat with me, Ankita Saxena, and with me is Shrishti Sharma. Wishing all our viewers a very happy new year. This is a show where we get you all the stocks that are buzzing in trade, either on the back of news flow or on the back of technicals. But first, we'll quickly take a market check. Shrishti, the market Nifty is as flat as a pancake, flip-flopping between red and green. But action is in the broader markets. Nifty, mid-cap and small cap hit record highs. That is where the party is actually happening.
Well, yes, Ankita, you rightly said that it's as flat as it could be, because though we have recovered from the day's lowest point, but we are just not doing anything for the past 2.5 hours. And for Nifty, we are just trading flat, while for the bank Nifty also flip-flopping between the red and the green territory. But the broader market space, like Ankita highlighted, Nifty mid and the small cap end of the markets are doing pretty well, holding 0.7% gain in both of these indices. But other than that, a lot of stock-specific actions what we are seeing. As of now, Adani group of stocks are doing pretty well because they are the top gainers in Nifty 50. Adani Enterprise as well as Adani Ports holding up gains of anywhere between 2 to 3%. Other than that, Nestle India in the recent while has seen a jump. Some of the PSU counters like Coal India is also one of the Nifty 50 gainers, and BHEL is one of the top movers today after a report suggests that the company has won a big order from NLC. On the flip side, if we see, there are a lot of auto counters are definitely under pressure. We will talk more of that in detail. But as of now, weak set of numbers coming in from Bajaj Auto, M&M disappointment for auto as well as their tractor sales, and a big disappointment coming in from Escorts as well. So taking cues from all of these counters are definitely under pressure. But Eicher Motors VECV has done pretty well in terms of the sales data, and taking cues from that, Ashok Leyland is the counter from the commercial vehicle segment that is doing pretty well, holding up gains of around 3% as of now. So that's about how the markets are doing as of now. A lot of PSU counters in focus. Other than that, the Pharma is also doing pretty well. So that's the picture of the market. But with this, viewers, in the edition of Market Fatafat, let's move forward and let's kickstart highlighting all the counters that are buzzing. And with this, let me welcome on board our team of researchers as well as our technical expert for today. Onto the technical side, we are being joined by Kunal Rambhia from these streets, as well as from the research side, Ashesha and Ansh are joining us. A very good afternoon to all three of you, and festive cheers and Happy New Year to you, Kunal. But moving on to the stocks that are in focus, let me take the first counter, and the stock that we're going to be discussing at the top is HFCL. This counter is in focus as the company has won a big order coming in from BSNL, where the company has said that they have secured a landmark order around 1127 crores from BSNL to revolutionize BSNL's optical transport network, and this agreement is poised to transform the optical transport network infrastructure for BSNL. This will not just get the infrastructure ready for BSNL's 4G network, but going ahead with the 5G revolution coming in, this network will also ensure that the company gets ready for this transition as well. On the back of this news flow, the stock is in focus and holding on to the gains of around 2 to 3% as of now. With the markets trading flat, the stock is still holding itself in the green.
Right, and moving on to the next stock of the day, which is Grasim. Now, let's see what is the news flow on Grasim then. Grasim Industries hit a record high on the first trading day, of course, and after the company announced the commissioning of additional capacity in Bharuch plant in Gujarat. Now, the company's plant will now have an additional 1.23 lakh ton of annual total capacity of annual advanced material capacity, taking the total capacity to 2.46 lakh ton per annum. Now, the expansion will facilitate the growth of the specialty chemical business. The board of company is also scheduled to meet, and they will discuss the right issue terms on 4th of January. On the back of that, we did see a gain of 2% coming in on Grasim. So for now, it has given up those gains. It's currently up 0.6% in trade.
All right then, moving on, and let's go to Kunal. And Kunal, the first counter that you have picked up is National Fertilizers, and all these counters are seeing great gains in today's trading session. Tell us more on this front.
Very good afternoon to everyone, and wishing the best year to come for all our viewers and the entire team of TT. So on the national fertilizers front, if you look at the overall formation of last 10 years, the counter was in sideways consolidation and it wasn't actually able to cross 95 mark. In today's session, it has decisively given a breakout with a massive volume on the chart. It's trading at right now 98.5. So one can certainly initiate a buy at the present level. The stop loss on this will be 90. So it can be a buy on decline counter also. In fact, at the present level also one can buy. Now the targets are open for as high as 135 to 140 levels. Mind you, this is a long-term positional bet, so it shouldn't be misunderstood with the short-term trades here.
Shesha. All right, moving on to the next stock. Shesha, you've picked HPL Electric. Tell us what's the news flow coming in on this one?
Well, yes, it is on the back of a brokerage report that has come in from ICICI Direct. The stock, in fact, is locked in upper circuit of 10% on the back of this report, where they're maintaining their buy stance on the stock with a target price of 305 rupees per share. The stock, as you can see, trades at about 273 odd levels. They say that the company is well positioned to witness healthy growth led by strong demand arising in the smart metering segment. Remember, metering and system segment will be the key growth driver for the company from here on, is what ICICI Direct says. They also say that the government is targeting installation of about 25 crore smart meters nationwide, and this is expected to benefit the company. Switchgear, wires and cable segment will also aid growth for the company from here on. So they are estimating revenue CAGR of 20%, EBITDA CAGR of 28% and PAT CAGR of a whopping 53% over the period FY23 to 26 for the company. So the back of this report that has come in from ICICI Direct with a buy rating and a target price of 305, the stock is locked in upper circuit today.
All right then, moving on, and Kunal, let's talk about Photex Chemicals. This is the counter that you have picked up, and since the month of December, the stock was facing the difficulty to cross past the levels of 370 rupees. But this time now, do you foresee a breakout in this one?
Certainly, perfect level highlighted by you. It wasn't actually able to cross 370 mark. In fact, in today's session also, if you can see, the high is 374 and right now it's trading at 368. Day before yesterday also, the breakout was at around 370 levels itself. It made a high of 378, but came down to that level. So yes, it's a conditional buy call. Wait for the breakout of 370, initiate a buy above that. The stop loss in that case will be 360 and the targets can be as high as 425. But I think it's very much due looking at the intraday movements.
Right, moving on to the next stock. Ansh, you have picked out Fortis Healthcare. Now, this stock is buzzing away in today's trade. It's, I believe, on the back of a brokerage note. Do tell us what the brokerage note says.
Yes, so Fortis Healthcare is up around 6% in trade today. Number in the latest brokerage report has maintained a buy rating on the company, revising its target price from 388 to 475, a hike of around 22%. Number even highlights the presence of adequate levels that position company for margin expansion. They anticipate hospital segment's EBITDA margin to improve significantly, reaching around 20% by FY25 as compared to 17% in FY23. They are also positive on improvement in average revenue per occupied bed growth over the medium term. Lastly, they find Fortis Healthcare to be relatively cheaper than its competitors. Also, if you check the chart, stock has hit a record high level today. In addition to that, today's gain is the highest gain seen in over a year.
All right, thank you so much for highlighting that. But from the pharma space, Kunal, you have your eyes on Laurus Lab. A couple of these counters are doing pretty well in today's trading session. Well, what are the levels that you're watching out for Laurus Labs?
So again, if you look at the last 1 year data, the counter wasn't actually able to cross 435 mark, and today it has managed to break out that level. In fact, we saw the breakout couple of days back also. It was in consolidation, and today is a continuation again. So with this, we can initiate a buy at the present level. The stop loss on this will be 425, and the targets can again be set as high as 475. And mind you, this is the counter where we'll keep trailing the stop loss with the new targets coming in time.
All right, moving on, let's shift focus to what the stocks in the QSR space are doing, because the last week of the December is the busiest week for all these QSR chain companies on the back of the New Year's festive eve. And this time around, Antique has done a channel check where they have highlighted that the festive season and the sports events failed to bring the recovery in the QSR space, because December last week the demand remains soft versus the previous years. Other than that, if we talk about, then the pizza segment continues to be impacted due to the competitive intensity and down trading by the customers, as well as the KFC and the burger performance to be stable while the pizza remains impacted. Now, Domino's and Pizza Hut taking steps to increase their customer footfalls by the promotional activity equities. But talking about the stock-specific action, so Antique as of now prefers Devyani and Sapphire Foods among the risk reward. Seems to be favorable as of now for them. But on the flip side, they keep maintaining their sell rating on Jubilant Foodworks due to the near-term headwinds in the pizza segment. So that's the report coming in from Antique. But with this, let's move on and let's also hear out from Dinshaw Irani, CIO of Helios Mutual Fund, what's his take on the QSR space.
So QSR space is very interesting. I think it's more of mainly seeing a lot of local competition. I mean, as in you have a lot of options. When you open up a Zomato or a Swiggy, you see so many pizza guys which are there as such, and you would want to try out newer names, right? So I think that's where the problem is. Wherever the QSR is more of a say a high street based or say a mall based kind of QSR, I think that's the one which you're looking at, because we have 65 crore youths in the country today, and I'm sure they're always looking at these options of picking up stuff when they're moving around, and impulse purchase as it's called. So I think those are the plays that you're looking at. We have only one player in that space, and I think we're quite happy with that. Plus we have a supplier who supplies to that player, which is a listed player as such. A part of his sales is to that, plus he's got a brand ownership also.
All right, moving on then. The next stock for today's trading session is KPI Green. Now, KPI Green has announced, the issue of one bonus share for every two held at its board meeting, which was held on the 30th of December. Now, the record date of the issue of the bonus shares is yet to be determined. But, this is the second instance where KPI Green is issuing shares to its shareholders. Now, remember earlier it had issued one bonus share for every one held in January last year. And also, KPI Green has recently completed a fundraise worth 300 crore rupees through a QIP. And on the back of this news flow, we can see KPI Green, it is knocked down in trade, down with 2.5% or more than 2.5% in trade today.
Right, then let's move on to the next counter in focus. And Kunal, what's your take coming in on SSW Solar? We don't discuss this stock very often, but interesting to note that this is on your list. So tell us more that what exactly the technical charts are telling you.
So interesting observation on this chart is that we saw continuous upper circuit on the counter right from the Diwali time, where the counter was trading at around 260 and it went up to as high as 420, which was the first breakout. Almost 15 days of sideways consolidation, and today what we saw was again it surged in trade by almost 5%. It was in upper circuit in the morning, and now the circuit is open. I think this is a flag formation breakout which we are witnessing on the chart. Now the present level can be a good level to initiate a buy. We will wait for one more day's confirmation. The counter should trade above 455 kind of zone, which will give us the clear breakout, second breakout. With the stop loss of 440, one can initiate a buy, and the targets can be as high as now 500 from the present levels.
Right. Ashresha, coming to you now. You've picked up banking stocks. Now, this is, I'm sure, on the back of the note that BofA came out with on the banking stocks. Tell us what are the names and what is the note saying?
Yeah, so Bank of America has come out with a note on the expectations from third quarter banking results, where they say that strong growth and asset quality will offset net interest margin pressures in the third quarter FY24. They've also spoken about a couple of individual stocks. HDFC Bank, where they're maintaining their buy stance. They've hiked their target price to 1950. Axis Bank, IndusInd Bank, Canara Bank, for all of them, they've maintained their stance. They've hiked their target price. For all of these counters, for Federal Bank also, they've maintained their buy stance. They hiked the target price from 170 to 180. They say third quarter will be the last quarter for net interest margins normalization, and that higher base will hit pre-provisioning operating profit in the third quarter. Of course, net interest margin performance will be the key delta in third quarter banking results. So on the back of this report that has come in, we see all these three counters in focus. In fact, Federal Bank gaining 0.5%, Canara Bank and Union Bank gaining nearly 1.5% in trade today.
Okay, so that's BofA's take on the banking names, but we also spoke with the top boss of banking major SBI, wherein quality of the unsecured loans as SBI is the gold standard, says Chairman of SBI, Mr. Dinesh Kumar Khara, and he also mentions that the bank has made provisions for additional capital requirement. Let's go across and listen into him.
I think the regulator was very clear in their mind when they have increased the RWAs for the unsecured loan. But while doing so, they were looking at the general trajectory in the unsecured loan space, in the banking sector, and also the NBFC sector. So, though at a macro level, perhaps the growth was too high for the unsecured loan piece. But when it comes to bank in particular, particularly State Bank of India, we had already calibrated our growth in the unsecured piece. And on the top of it, the quality of the unsecured in our case is much better. I would say that it's more like a gold standard, touch wood. And we hope to maintain this quality, and we don't envisage any challenge as far as our unsecured book is concerned. But yes, of course, with the increased RWAs for unsecured loan as well as for lending to NBFCs, some of the NBFCs, there would be a situation where the cost of funds for such NBFCs will go up. But nevertheless, when it comes to housing finance companies, gold loan, etc., so those are the companies.
Right, and moving on, Kunal, you've picked up yet another pharma name, which is DVs Lab. Tell us what are the charts saying for this particular counter now that the pharma pack is started performing well. What are you penciling in for DVs Labs?
So again, if you look at the last 18 to 20 months data, the counter was not able to cross actually 3900 mark. There were almost 4 attempts done, but almost all of them were failure. It's been 3 days the counter is sustaining about 3900, which is a clear breakout. It's in sideways consolidation right now, but it's trading above the breakout zone. So one can certainly initiate a buy at the present level. The stop loss on this will be 3800 and the targets can be as high as 4200. And again, this is a counter where, it's advisable to keep trailing the stop loss and hold because it seems to be the beginning of a new rally from present level.
All right, moving on to the next counter, which is a banking name, City Union Bank. City Union Bank is in focus today because it is opening 5 new branches in Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh and Maharashtra, and the total count now for the bank is likely to go up to 772 branches all over the country. And on the back of this news flow and the expansion plans, the stock is up more than 1.5% in trade.
All right, that's why City Union Bank is in focus. But moving on, and one of the newsmakers today, Ansh, is Dalmia Bharat. Tell us more on this front. Why is this counter buzzing today?
Yes, so Motilal Oswal Securities has come up with a brokerage note on Dalmia Bharat. They have maintained a positive outlook on the company and have issued a buy rating with a target price of around 2,800. Currently, stock is trading at around 2,350 rupees, so we have more 19 to 20% on upside. Motilal in the report has also highlighted the company's ambitious growth plan with a key focus on cost efficiency, innovation and sustainability. They also anticipate strong support for the growth plan from their robust operating cash flows. They commend the commitment of the company to maintain a healthy balance sheet with a target of net debt to EBITDA ratio of less than 2x. Also, if you see the charts, stock has given an up move of around 30% in last 1 year and also seems to be trading in an upward sloping support channel, which is a positive for company.
All right, moving on, and let's focus to 2 counters in focus, that is BHEL as well as NLC India, because reports suggest that BHEL has won an order worth rupees 19,422 crores of Talbira project, wherein BHEL will build 3 ultra supercritical units for NLC India at Talabira, and that's why BHEL stock actually managed to cross that level of 200 rupees as well in today's trading session. The stock was buzzing in the past 2 to 3 days, but we also spoke with the management of NLC India, where they did mention that they are in the process of finalizing the bid for this one, and this will be awarded in a month's time. Other than that, only BHEL participated in the final stage of the bidding, and they can't say why L&T did not participate or bid in the last round. But other than that, they can't say if they will be rebidding or not. They are still evaluating the bid currently. And onto the long-term plans, that NLC India aims to become 17 gigawatts company by 2030, 11 gigawatts by gigawatts of lignite and coal, and 6 gigawatt from renewables. They will be funding their capex from their internal accruals, as well as they might look to monetize some renewable assets as well. On the back of this news flow, you can see on your screen BHEL is up around 2.5%, while NLC India is a bit under pressure after this news flow.
All right, we'll move on then to the next counter, which is Strides Pharma. Now, Strides Pharma is, Strides has announced sale of manufacturing facility in Singapore for a consideration of $15 million. And Strides Pharma Private Limited, Singapore, has already received $12 million as a part of the closing, and the remaining consideration of $3 million will be received in the Q2 of FY25. And on the back of this news flow, we are seeing the counter up 1% in trade.
All right, Strides Pharma holding up well, but Kunal, believe that you have picked up all the pharma names that are buzzing in Strides Pharma is yet another pharma stock. Tell us more on this one.
So interesting observation on this is actually that the first breakout was witnessed near to 520 mark, where we shared with our viewers on our channel itself that this is a beginning of a new rally. What we saw was after that the counter went up to almost as high as 665 to 670. It's been now 4 to 5 days. The counter is in sideways consolidation, and this is again forming a flag formation the way we saw on SSW Solar. So here is a conditional buy call. We can initiate a buy even at the present level. For the momentum traders, one can wait for the breakout of 665 and initiate a buy after that. The stop loss in both the cases is going to be 640, and the targets can be as high as 725. Again, at that level, I would advise our viewers to keep trailing the stop loss and hold the position. I think this is the beginning of a new rally, and it might surprise us positively on a higher side.
All right, Kunal, thank you so much. But moving on then, in tonight's episode of Leaders of Tomorrow's Mumbai Springboard, Bhavesh Jatania, who's the head of startup banking, IDFC First Bank, spoke about myriad of opportunities offered by Mumbai, its robust financial sector and the changing banking needs of the new age consumer. Now in the Wealth First segment, Rahul Singh, who's the country head of private banking, IDFC First Bank, and Harshvardhan Roomta, who's the CEO of Roomta Securities, shared wealth management tips for entrepreneurs and shed light on the financial strategies to adopt in 2024. Listen in to what they had to say.
Let's look at Mumbai in terms of numbers. Some 6% odd in terms of GDP, share of GDP, some 30% share of income tax collections, right? And Mumbai is bustling in terms of activities, right? Mumbai is one of the most happening places, or the most happening places, so to speak, right? When we speak about Mumbai, we all look at numbers and say Mumbai is great economic capital by a large distance, right? But is Mumbai all about numbers? Is Mumbai all about business, right? Mumbai is an emotion.
Gold is giving you a return in absolute terms of 5% annualized, and that the forex, the rupee depreciating, giving you another 5.5%. Okay. And we believe that gold is doing great. No, that's not the case. Okay. Now, in terms of wealth creation, you have to ask yourself, if I really want to create wealth. So my objective is what? Why am I saving today, saying that I am sacrificing the use of this money today so that I can use it in future?
In investments, you have three things which you should do. One is asset allocation, essentially buy different products. Then, so that will take care of the first rule. The second is buy good product, buy something which good products, and they should behave differently to each other. And the third is give them time. Don't expect them to work for you overnight, So that these three things are simple but not easy to follow.